All right. Hello. Welcome, everyone, to episode 4 of the Write a Romance series. I just want to remind you that Last Chapter Press, we love indie authors. We know that you have a choice, and we would like you to know that we believe we're the choice for authors who just want to write a blippin' book. So it's just the way that we are. We support you doing indie, we support you doing hybrid, we support you doing traditional. We just want to see you succeed, is what we want. All right, so today I'm very excited about this topic because if anybody knows me, they know that I am an outliner. I help people outline, I coach them through outlining. I have like 6 outlines that I use, different types, depending on the size or the length of the novel, and I'll show you some of those here pretty soon. But today, yes, we are going to learn plotting. And yes, I did capitalize it because it's that important. I know that a lot of people think that plotting, I'm more of a pantser. That's totally fine. I support that. I support you wanting to be like free with your writing and have it flow. However, having a little bit of a roadmap, that's going to help you in the end. And I'm going to tell you why next. Okay. So just remember that you can find this session in about 24 hours. Sometimes it takes me just a little bit longer to get it up on YouTube. And you can either search Last Chapter Press or you can type in Last Chapter Press 6487. All right. So reasons to plot. Why should I make an outline? Well, there are several reasons. The first one is to get to know your characters. So who is this person? Remember, we started with the character sheets. Remember, we decided who our characters were going to be, a little bit about them, their goals, their motivations, their conflicts. You're going to be able to weave all that information into your stories. The second reason is to have a framework. Like I said, you don't have to make it detailed. It can be just the highlights of every chapter, and then you can go in and fill it out, fluff it out, make it more broad strokes versus little like specifics. If you would think that that's going to stifle your creativity or maybe even put kind of a what do I say, handcuffs on your muse to have a real tight plot, then just give yourself some kind of overview. Like chapter 1, we're opening in a coffee shop and she's going to spill hot coffee on his crotch. Boom, done. Nothing has to be set in stone. You don't have to have any dialogue. You don't have to have any of that. Just give yourself a good framework. The next reason is to find plot holes. So sometimes I'll be creating an outline and I'll start writing and then I'll see, you know what? I like the end of this outline, but the beginning doesn't match. There's something wrong. There's a disconnect between them. It's better to find out when you have an outline versus when you have a full 55,000 word story, because that can really make you feel like, oh my gosh, I have to rewrite this entire story. Remember, we want efficiency and efficacy. So efficiency, good, clean writing, quick, um, like not quick, but I want to say like moving forward writing. Efficacy, we want words that mean something. Okay. So if you don't have any plot holes, then you know that every word that you're putting down on the page, it means something. The next reason is to explore more options. So when you're creating an outline, sometimes you'll say, okay, well, the plot line could go this way, or it could go this way. I'm going to turn my light on back there. It could go this way. So you have options. You could even write down both of the options and then see which way it goes. You're almost creating your own, what do they call those? Like, a story, choose your own adventure. That's what it's called. So you could do like a choose your own adventure. That could keep the creativity part that a plotter or a pantser versus a plotter likes. The next reason, it can motivate you to write. I know. I was thinking, what does an outline do for me? And this is one of the number one things that it does for me. It motivates me to write. I will use an example of yesterday. I was finishing up a story, actually Saturday. I was finishing up a story. I met an author friend to write with me, and she said, so you've got your outline, right? Because she knows me. She knows I'm a big outliner. Well, I said, I really don't. And she said, 10 minutes, take 10 minutes and make yourself an outline. And I wish I had the pieces of paper, but it was just simple like words on a piece of paper. And as soon as I had it down on there, and I already have 4,000 words in the story, I just needed about another 11,000. Um, as soon as I had the steps down on paper, there was no fear, there was less confusion, and it all seemed very clear and logical in my brain. Well, of course, first we're going to start here. Well, I need to have them alone for a little while, and then this. So, but I gave myself a little options in there too, like, well, they could be up in the tree house, or maybe they go to the school where they used to swing on swings. So I gave myself some options in there too. And guess what? It like made me excited to write. And I got that story done. I wrote those 11,000 words in 2 days. So it was fantastic. The next reason, eliminate extraneous information. So say you're going in and you give yourself those options, you're able to eliminate them as you go versus your muse taking over and saying, hey, do you want to go this way? Maybe they should go on a trip together instead of stay in this small town when you've already called it a small town romance. No, 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 no. We want all of that extraneous information. Like, say, this has happened to me several times. I adore side characters. I think I've said that a couple of times. And oftentimes my side characters kind of take over my story, especially if it's a short story. And you definitely don't want that because in a short romance, you need to have all of the information about the two people. I mean, most of the scenes have to be about them, not about anybody else. So if I have too much information about a side character, well, one, readers are going to ask for that side character's story, which is a great thing. Don't get me wrong. However, if I haven't like said to myself, this is going to be a story for a side character, it creates kind of this tension inside of me. So I have to pare down my side characters. And when I outline, I can see, hey, you've given that side character way too many scenes with these people. It's almost a threesome at this point, and you don't want that. So that's not what you're writing, Jules. So just keep in mind, it can help you eliminate some extraneous information. The next one, you can find the emotion easier for the characters because you're building the scenes from the ground up. You're starting the scene. Whereas if you're just writing, you're kind of playing a game of roulette where you're spinning the wheel, but it might just keep spinning in your mind. Like where is the character going to land? Whereas if you plot, you can put in the outline, hey, in this character, or in this chapter, I want my character to feel upset because I want the other character to comfort them. So how am I going to make them upset? Or how am I going to show some emotion for this character? Can I have something happen to someone they love? Can I have them hear some bad news? Can can their place of business burn down? I mean, these are extremes by any means, but how are you going to give emotion to that character? And by outlining, it's easier to find the emotion, at least for me. And then the last one that I think that you're going to really appreciate is saving time. Because guess what? When we save time, we can write more stories. And that's what I love about outlines. All right. So this is kind of a basic plot for a romance. I kind of broke it down into, I wanted just 10 because 10 sounds better than 11. But then I was like, Declaration of Love and Happily Ever After, those are two different things. And I'm going to explain why, because we're going to go through each one of these in depth. Not totally in depth, but I will show you. All right. So the first one, the meet cute. The second step, denial of a possible relationship. So, and like I said, I'll be going through all of these. I just want to read through them so that we can kind of understand the progression. The third step, giving a relationship a chance. The fourth step, dating and those interactions. Remember, we've talked about push and pull. It's getting them together, breaking them apart, showing them what they like about each other, what they don't like about each other. Needs versus wants, and that they can't have. Okay, that one is a big one, and I'm gonna touch on that in just a minute. Common ground. How are they alike? How do they get back together? Falling for each other. Dark moment. That's breaking up. That's number 8. And remember, I've talked about it a little bit. The dark moment where you separate the two of them, you want the reader to feel like there's no hope. Somebody told me about a story. Maybe I'll have to look at my Facebook and see if I can find it, about a story that did the dark moment so well. And I might put it up in Last Chapter Press or put it in the newsletter because I heard it was fantastic. So the next one, mentor moment. So this is when the person goes to another person and asks, am I crazy here? I thought I was in love. And they talk about their fears. And again, I'm getting ahead of myself. Number 10, declaration of love. I love you. I love you too. That's that. And then lastly, happily ever after, and what that includes, which it can be a couple of things. All right, let's explore all of them. First, the meet cute. This is a way to quickly introduce two characters and set up their burgeoning relationship. A meet cute is almost rife with awkwardness, embarrassment, and sometimes outright hostility, enemies to lovers. So that was from tvetropes.org, talking about what a meet cute is. It shows the chemistry of the future couple and what they might have. And it also makes us as readers or viewers, if it's TV, because that was TV, excited for what's to come. So it's setting up this relationship. It's showing you that they could possibly be together, but maybe not. All right, meet cute, number 1. Number 2, denial. So usually in a denial, it's the readers that are, or the characters are trying to convince themselves that, oh, they can never be with that person. What reason can't they be with them? Remember, we kind of said that before. Why can't they be together? So do they have a fear of rejection? Do they fear being weak? Are they experiencing emotional pain that can cause people to hide their feelings and protect themselves? They might think that admitting their feelings would make them look weak or put them at risk of getting hurt. And sometimes that's a male perspective, is that make them look weak. And when you can give your character vulnerability, in the end, it makes the denial from the beginning so much more powerful. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 3, giving a relationship a chance. So it's that moment where they say, okay, maybe I should just like go out with them and see. Maybe perhaps one of their friends says to them, hey, he's not that bad of a guy. Yeah, he used to be a player in high school. He used to do XYZ. However, he's changed. Somebody gives a different amount of information to them or some piece of information that changes them. So they assess the situation, they assess the other person's character. So what about them could possibly be attractive to them? And they establish boundaries. So If they've always dated really, let's say, geeky guys, okay, intellectuals, maybe even like people who doctorates and have doctorates and multi degrees and stuff like that. And they find themselves attracted to the mechanic, but when they tried to get their car fixed by him, he was kind of flippant because he was closing and he didn't have time for it. He had to get to the event that's in town and he has other priorities. And so she thought that he was kind of brash and but she sets those boundaries as I'm not going to I'm not going to give up on maybe he's a good guy. So, and the boundary might be that I don't have to settle for just one type of man in my life. Setting expectations. So again, that's what I was just talking about. It's what are they expecting from a partner? What are they expecting from a relationship? Those are all things that usually happen around the third to fifth chapter out of 20. So keep that in mind. All right, the next one, dating and interacting. So, of course, they've decided they're going to go out together or they're going to meet up somewhere. And so, when you're making up dates, these are the things that I want you to think about. Are the dates unique? Okay. You don't want something that's cookie cutter. You don't want something that's been repeated over and over and over. Try to think of something that's a little bit outside of the regular square that we put romance in, okay? So pair your characters together and pull in different story world elements to enhance the story. Make it unique. Is the date relatable? So no off the wall dates. So I just told you make it unique, and now I'm telling you don't make it too unique. And the reason is that readers will roll their eyes. So say she's afraid of heights, he takes her skydiving. That would not be a great date. That would be the readers going, why is she doing this? And why isn't she freaking out? Because she should be legitimately. So don't have any off the wall dates that might cause your character to have extremes that go against what you've set them up as. The next one, do they move the story forward? Remember, every scene needs to move the story forward. If you have a scene that's stagnant, it will make the readers feel like, well, what am I reading? It's boring. It doesn't have any focus, certainly. So move the story forward with the dates. Every scene in your novel needs to move the plot forward. And remember the solid scene worksheet. See, we're piecing everything together now here in the end in the plot. Do they show emotion? Readers want a happily ever after. That's why they're reading romance. 100%. Dates need to allow a reader to feel along with the characters. So, you know, have some really big fears coming out. Like, maybe their insecurities, like women, maybe she's just not really happy with her body, or maybe she's really confident and she puts it out all out there. So what's her emotion there? It's pride, it's happiness, it's I'm confident in myself. So show the readers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to show you something that I call the ETR. Okay. And here we go. Start my share again. All right, share screen. This one right here. All right. So this right here is a sheet that I created. It's called the ETR, Emotions, Thoughts, and Reactions. Okay. So emotions are feelings. Thoughts are your internal emotions, and reactions is how you react, your external presentation of what's happening. So one of the best ways to bring a reader into the character's POV is to examine the emotions, thoughts, and reactions of a character. So you always ask, what's the base emotion of the character in the scene? Perhaps the heroine is surprised that the hero is showing her attention, maybe because she thought the hero didn't like her. He's been standoffish, didn't return a phone call. He demonstrated some sort of behavior that led her to believe this. Be sure to set it up first. Then we let the reader know what the heroine is thinking. Okay. So, what is their internal reaction? She could be confused by the hero's actions. She's trying to find the logic or the reasoning for his change, for him coming to her and showing her attention. Maybe it's because they're outside of work. Maybe he's had a drink or two. Remember, if it's a sweet romance. So I wrote this for sweet romance, totally applies to steamy as well, but this is in my sweet romance course that I created. They're allowed to imbibe in a sweet romance, but you can't get drunk. All right, pretty common. So next, how does it feel to be in the heroine's skin at that moment? So we're putting the reader inside of that heroine or that character. Perhaps she's speechless to start. He's showing her attention. Her mind is racing, considering all the possibilities, but nothing's coming out. Her brow furrows while he continues to praise her or talk to her. That's going to make her slightly uncomfortable, right? This is the show of the character's state of mind to the reader. And then finally, the heroine, succumbs to the feeling or the feels of what's happening. So maybe she feels comfortable or she decides to change her emotion because it's uncomfortable. Maybe she decides she likes the attention and she starts bantering back and forth with the hero. That can be fantastic for a romance because readers love banter. But she could also decide that he's not being genuine and she could stomp off. She could say, this is not right. Both are good external reactions. Her behavior, what are you going to give her for behavior? So here's how I might, an hour, look at that. I have a typo. Oh, wow. It happens. All right, Sharon sipped the tangy lemonade that her grandmother shoved into her hand before heading off to share the latest gossip that her granddaughter was once again available. 2 years ago, Grandma Jenny had accosted the bag boy at Farrington's Market with the same information, and she crossed her arms and blew out a long sigh. She'd stopped trying to get Grandma to understand that she was fine without a man. But fine was never fine in Grandma's world. In fact, she always said fine is for China, not people. Ethan Cross stepped in front of her view as she heard the news of her latest relationship's demise being broadcast like a megaphone to ears that could barely hear anyway. Hey there, Sharon, he said with a wink that made Sharon's head rear back and her heart take a beat faster in her chest. The tips of his polished black boots touched the tips of her satin red Mary Janes. Ethan was the first boy, now a man, she ever let kiss her, and she should have learned her lesson back then. Men aren't worth the energy or sacrifice of lip balm. So, I hear that you're available, he said as she stared into those green with gold flecks eyes. Everyone always added again to the statement, but she was thankful he saved her the cringe, and her heart calmed silently. Grandma's got a mouth like a bullhorn. He chuckled and shook his head slightly, the black Stetson becoming slightly askew with the move. Nah, I heard it from the original source. She rolled her eyes up. She wouldn't waste good mascara on the memory of a man. Oh, been talking to Tyler, have you? And what else did he have to say? He leaned in and her back pressed against the cold metal barn wall. Only that it was a mistake to let you go. That did it. Maybe that was Tyler's I'm sorry. Not done in not the best way, but that was Tyler. You want to go for a walk? She asked Ethan. Perfect night. He held out his arm and every grandma in the room gasped. Go talk about this, Grandma Jenny. So you see how it's you've put her into a situation, you're giving her emotions, the initial emotion, Then we talk about her thoughts, her internal thoughts. This, men aren't worth the energy or sacrifice of lip balm. And then we're having her reaction to him, that whole heart pounding, and then she calms down just a little. And then guess what? In the end, her behavior is to ask him to go outside. That's fantastic. I also think that this one, it does have a little worksheet with it. Write your own scene. What's the base emotion? What are they thinking? And what is their internal reaction? How does it feel to be in this character's skin, their bodily reaction, the show? And lastly, what is the outcome of the moment? What will the character do? So, and then I also include some emotions, thoughts, and the corresponding action that you might consider working into your romance. So if it's a happy emotion, joy is often this bodily reaction over here. So this can really help you to understand, hey, I want somebody to be proud. Okay, so they might have their palms up, kind of thing. I'm proud of myself, or open arms, basically. So they're not crossing them, kind of thing. So this goes on for, I think, like probably 3 or 4 pages at least. So something that you can take a look at there. All right, let's go ahead and get back to our other form. Our other page. I like to sing sometimes. Okay, right here. Oh, come on. Oh, whoops, right here. There we go. Awesome. Okay. So, that was the ETR, emotions, thoughts, and reactions. And I will, let's see if I have the link. Hold on just one second and I will grab it. And put it in the chat so you can have it. That learning library, I've heard from many an author that they love our learning library. Okay, copy the link, copy link, and where is my chat? Come on. Why are we not coming up? Come on, chat. Oh, there we go, chat. Sorry about that taking a little time. Here we go. So there's the Dropbox to find that ETR sheet so that you can also be giving your characters the best emotions, thoughts, and reactions. All right, so when they're dating, does the scene build tension? We need some conflict and tension to keep a reader turning the pages. Build roadblocks in your character's way and then have them overcome them. Because also readers love when we make a person a hero in their own story, okay? Because they want to be a hero of their own life. So they can empathize, they can like live vicariously through that character, okay? All right. The next part of writing a romance and plotting is needs versus wants. They can't have this person because. Why can't the characters be together? It's a repetition of that conflict. What is keeping them apart? What keeps them butting heads? Want is temporary. It's lust, okay? Want can be very physical. But need is a fundamental completion of the other person. Need relates to love, okay? So need is a base instinct in us. They can want each other, but how do they need each other? What is the need? When you're writing this scene, you're going to need to know why do they need each other? What's that base need that the other person can fulfill? All right, next one, common ground. Give them some similar desires, likes, hobbies, make them work together, and show how they can be compatible. Okay, you'll see this. Hallmark movies do this really, really well. What they do is they give them a project to work on. So it's something that needs to be done for the community. So it's some sort of like fundraising event, or it's taking care of animals at the shelter, something like that. So do they both love animals? Have them both working at the shelter. That could be wonderful. Okay, common ground. All right, the next step is falling for each other. So the two characters, they're going to realize that they're compatible, okay? But being compatible with someone doesn't mean that you want to share your life with them, certainly. They need to connect in other ways. They need to connect physically, mentally, and emotionally. Now, when it comes to physically, remember those 12 steps of intimacy, okay? Because if you go from 0 to number 12, readers get a little upset. So try to sprinkle in those others, the eye contact, the touching of the back of the lower back. You'll see that in movies a lot. It's a way to bond your characters together. Connecting mentally means like common desires, common hobbies. Do they both like puzzles? Have them be putting a puzzle together. And they do it into the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. They're still putting this puzzle together, but they've been talking the entire time. It feels like they were meant to be doing something together. Okay. And then emotionally, connecting emotionally. What has happened in their lives to make them fear having a relationship or have them conflicted inside of themselves? Okay. And how can they share that with the other person? So falling for each other can include sex, like I said, so keep that in mind. And we also want this to seem where everything is peachy and they're gonna go the distance. They're like the ladies group in town is all a flutter that, oh my gosh, the most eligible bachelor of this small town has finally found someone. It's so wonderful. And then we're going to tear them apart. Okay. You're going to take them and you are going to break them up and you have to break them apart. Okay. They can't be together. So, what breaks the other person or confirms that something that makes it hard to move forward? So, if it's that conflict, think back to when we were talking about in the beginning lesson about he has a coffee shop. He's going to be moving into a small town. He has a coffee shop in a big city. He's going to be moving into a small town. She has a coffee shop already in that small town. She knows that this big coffee shop could ruin her. He goes ahead and signs that paperwork to break ground on a building. That can be like, it could shatter her. What she doesn't know possibly is that he's building the store for her to expand, not for him to expand. There you go. But that's coming up. That would be the next part, the resolution. So you need to break them up. Make readers think that they're never going to get back together again because readers love that. They're like, all is lost. It's so, they feel like they have to know. They have to go keep on reading to know what's going to happen. Then we have our mentor moment. It's a sacrifice of the self. Okay. They go to someone for advice. Usually this is a sage person, or it doesn't even have to be a sage person. I've written mentors who are kind of, what do I say, flighty, or even they themselves have never found love. And yet they kind of have a different way of looking at love. They can look from the outside in and they can say to that person, hey, you are great with this person. You showed a different side of yourself. You let go of every fear that you've ever had to be with this person. So what have they learned? Oftentimes that sage person, the mentor, can tell them, they can show them that you learned how to love. You learned to put away your fears from your parents' divorce to move forward with somebody and give them a piece of you that you've never given to somebody else. So what can they do to prove their feelings and love? And we call this the grand gesture. Okay. And it's not, remember when we talked about like circles opening something up? It can be, certainly, but a grand gesture is usually something a little bit more. It's more oriented towards making up for what they have done, and also moving the story, the relationship forward. I don't know why my light keeps turning off back there, sorry. So what can they do to prove their feelings and love? How can they self-sacrifice? In that example with the coffee shops, he's giving up his business, or he's decided that her business is the priority from now on. So that is a self-sacrifice. He's no longer this pushy businessman. He's going to put her first. All right. Then we have the declaration of love. So they change, they repent, or they make amends. Okay. So they change. They've overcome their conflict and their internal conflict is now basically, excuse me, satiated, or they've kind of learned that they don't have to be fearful anymore. They don't have to be confused anymore. They don't have to be scared anymore. Then they repent. Maybe they repent. Maybe they say, I'm going to do better. I'm going to work for 6 weeks at the animal shelter and learn how to love an animal so that I can really love this other person. They also make amends. They oftentimes, with a grand gesture, they present something to the other person that means something to that other person. What would make the other character believe them? Okay, so like I said down here at the bottom, this has to be believable, okay? You can't just have, and I have seen this, please don't do this. Maybe please don't do this. You could probably make it work. I know you can, but I'm encouraging you not to have the woman at the coffee shop or one of the characters at the coffee shop. The other person walks into the coffee shop. They say, I'm so sorry. I did you wrong. I really want to be with you. Will you love me? Yes, I'll love you. Everything goes away. No, 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 no. You can't have it that simple. Readers don't want it that simple. They're going to feel like they were gypped, like they didn't get enough from the story. The conflict was not handled correctly. So when you're making that declaration of love, make sure that they have given some type of grand gesture, that they've gone the mileage to justify their love. Okay. And then lastly, happily ever after, which is also called an HEA, if you don't know. You can do this in a bonus epilogue. Okay. I'm gonna take a drink. I'm getting, I'm talking a lot. All right. So what does this look like for your characters? What is their happily ever after? Does it include an engagement? Does it include moving in together? Does it include a wedding, children, animals, something like that? It doesn't have to be a wedding. It can be as simple as she's always wanted a black Labrador puppy, and he goes and gets it to show that he wants to be together for 25 or 20 years. Yeah, Labrador's probably 18 years of this dog's life. Okay, that's a commitment. Okay, you just want your readers to feel like these two people are going to be together forever. Okay, all right, so that's plotting. All right, so I'm going to stop this and I'm going to show you something else that I'd like you to look at. I'm going to put a link in the chat over here. This particular link is actually for our, for the, let me see if I can share this. Hold on just a second. All right. All right, this is for the outline examples that I can provide you. Share screen, right? Oh, right here. Yes. Okay, there we go. All right, so in that link, you should be able to find these 5 different, or no, wait, I'm sorry, 4 different outlines. The first outline is for a 10,000 word short story because that is what I write typically, okay? Then the second one is for the Billy Marinitz sweet outline. These are all sweet, but you can add sex to them, that's for sure. These were all made to be sweet to go along with my sweet course. The next one is Jamie Gold's outline. And then there's Romancing the Beats sweet outline too down here. But this is something that I want you to take a look at, is this post outline questions. Whoops. So these are questions after you're done with your outline, you ask yourself these questions. Let me go ahead and see if I can make it just a little bit bigger. So all of these questions relate to the outline. This will help you to check your outline so that you don't have those plot holes, okay? This is what I want to give to you because it will save you so much time, okay? To check and then write off that outline. All right. So the other things that were in there, remember, you've got some different examples. Go ahead and open one up. And then I've used an example of a movie that you might be familiar with in each one of them to show how it goes in succession. Okay, so in this particular one, the Romancing the Beat by Gwen Hayes, I've used You've Got Mail. Okay, now I'm like I say in here, there is a little bit of cheating, I think, in this movie. However, it's one of my favorites, so we're gonna go with it. So I just tell you, I go from the beginning to the end of how they set this up. Basically, maybe they didn't use this particular plot, but it follows this plot very, very well. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop that one. Going to go back to the other. All right, so thank you. We're going to be doing a Facebook Live on May 11th at 9:30 to 10 o'clock in the morning. That's Central Time Zone. Everything that we do here, Central, we're in Omaha, Nebraska. So we are Central Time Zone. So we're going to answer any questions you have about the Toes in the Sand contest or about writing romance live. Okay, you'll be able to put them into the chat as questions and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Okay, so join our Facebook group, which is Last Chapter Press Reader Group, and this is the event. I will go ahead and maybe, can I put that in yeah, I can put that in here. So I put it into the chat. Oh, it didn't transfer because I must have, hold on just a second. Let me try it again. There we go. Okay, there we go. So the event, like I said, May 11th. 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Time. And if we go past 10, that's fine. I just didn't want to say, it's going to be 2 hours of us sitting on Facebook Live. Okay. All right. We've plotted. All right. Are you ready to go out there and do it? Wonderful. And definitely make sure you start that writing contest. We would love to have you. If you have any questions, you can email me at julie@lastchapterpress.com. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.